All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Brazzelli, coming to you live on the Salve Athletics Network. We're live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter, we have an awesome show for you. Here today, we'll be joined by Gerry Willis, Jannelle Iaquinto, Bill Villareal, Jillian LeBeau, and Maggie McCarthy of our women's track and field team. We're going to speak to the producers as well to set the table. But first, we want to remind everybody to keep their distance. That is Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance from the Shake, Rhode Island-based band. Want to bring in the producers now of the show, working tirelessly behind the scenes, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Mike, once again, you've just fallen in love with this live on location thing, which is great. How about you tell us where you are and what you'll be bringing to us here today?
Yeah, definitely love being out in the field. So today I'm out here at Topa, where the weather's looking a little bit daunting, a little windy, a little cloudy, but nonetheless, softball is going to get underway here within the hour. Our later guest in the show, Coach Iaquinto, is also here, getting the team ready. There's a few girls here right now, just a couple pitchers, it looks like, are warming up down in the bullpen. No real EDPs yet, these weekday practices, you got people coming in and out due to class, but, that is why they're student athletes. But, hopefully here in the later segments, we'll get to see them in the background getting some more skill work. As you can see, a couple people coming in behind me now.
Since you like the on-location thing, maybe the next time we have a hurricane coming by, we'll go live now out along OSHA Drive. Mike, what's it like out there? Wind and rain coming in.
Oh,
yeah, Storm Chaser Mike DeFusco.
Let's do it. I'll do a Storm Chaser segment, no problem. A little Honda Accord driving around.
Joey, what do you have here? What do you got for us today to lead the show off?
Well, I am, again, coming from the Seahawk Radio studio. I'm broadcasting us on Radio FX, hopefully. So you can listen in there. In terms of news today, I was just looking at Rhode Island news, and was it next week? I'm not sure when next week, it doesn't say. But the minimum wage is getting raised by $1 to $11.50 in Rhode Island, which is pretty big news. I think it's only $1, but that's a lot when it.
Oh, $1 goes a long way.
Yeah, $1 goes a long way. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a good amount, and it's a good start, for raising the minimum wage.
Yeah, that's. You said $11.50 when I know at least
now.
I know when I started working, minimum wage was lower than that. I'm sure some of our guests today, we could maybe ask them what minimum wage was when they started working. It's going to be significantly lower than that. So $11.50, that's good to hear. I did want to bring in, it's relevant in a way. Last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup up in the bubble. So the first team now to have successfully finished last season and crown a champion. And I just think, just got to take a second to commend the NHL for pulling it off. We know now the NBA will pull it off. Their finals start this week and they will crown a champion. But the NHL, they were one of the first leagues to get their playing out and then actually return and start and play. They brought 24 teams into a bubble to finish off their season. So just remarkable that they were able to get it done. And hopefully there's a lot that can be learned. We talked about the trickle down from D1 to D3, what the pros have been able to do and find success. Maybe not for regular seasons, but we're probably going to see bubble type situations maybe across all divisions when we get into these national tournaments. So to see a league be successful and pull it off, that can only bode well for everyone else in the sports world, because there's a lot to be learned from what went well.
Absolutely. right now we're worried about conferences, but even if you got into a regional format, we're out of school by then, at least for baseball, I know. So there's always an opportunity to do like a bubble format for that once we're into May, later on in May for some of those spring sports.
I did want to see if I could find. I think I lost it. I wanted to show the picture of the new Stanley Cup, but I think it disappeared on me.
Picture.
Let me see. Oh, nope, there it is. I can cut to this. We're doing this live, folks, so bear with me. All right, hold on. We'll share this now with the listening audience. There you go.
Audio-friendly podcast.
That was the new Stanley Cup that they presented in the bubble last night. No, it wasn't actually, but might as well have. So yeah, it was a success for the league. What's always funny though is these guys are actually like that's their job is to protect the Stanley Cup throughout the year. There's actually a really good. There's a good documentary. You can. I think they did like a little 30 for 30 or something on these guys, because it's the same guys every year that come out with the cup. They've got the white gloves, and that's not for show. The cup, I think it was in the 90s, got absolutely destroyed in a post-game ceremony. Like the cup part got torn off. It was dented. It was busted up. Some of the nameplates had come off. They're like, all right, we're going to treat this thing with a little more respect. So these guys, basically travel with it during the cup final. They didn't have to travel a lot with it this year, but when they're flying back and forth, from city to city, depending on who might win, it's basically like they're carrying it like they got the nuclear launch codes. They're like handcuffed to the briefcase and like all this stuff. So that's not a joke that these guys they don't treat the. Maybe this year they should have treated the Purell. Maybe they did treat Purell with that same kind of reverence.
It's actually just full of Purell, the cup part.
True. Yes. Everyone post game had to come and dip their hands in.
You dip your hands in the ceremonial.
Wash off the hands, and then they could go through the handshake line. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, fellas, we're definitely going to come back to you guys. Mike, I know we'll come back to you live on location at Topa Field. So I'll let you guys head on backstage, and we'll talk to you again later.
All right. Thanks.
All right. That's Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going to turn now to our first guest, who was a champion weightlifter as an undergraduate at Salve Regina. He was national collegiate champion in 1985 and was named the outstanding weightlifter at the 1983 National Collegiate Championships, where he set a national record. State and New England champion 6 times, and he won 3 gold medals at the 1982 Junior Pan American Championships held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Currently, he serves as the Director of Alumni and Parent Services. And with no further ado, welcome to the show, Gerry Willis. Gerry, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And man, I can't get over that rendition Ed Habershaw did. He is a rock star.
Oh yeah,
Total rock star.
If you want, maybe that's something we can work for future content. I'm sure if we asked, Ed would be more than happy to provide renditions of any song.
Oh, I know he would.
Gerry, that is quite the impressive resume you have. You are also a Salve Regina Athletic Hall of Famer. Just talk about your experience, your weightlifting career, and what, how did that begin? Weightlifting, it's not one of those sports that people think of as the typical NCAA sport or sport, you come and compete at, and you did it at such an elite level. How did that start, and what was it like?
Yeah, I started weightlifting when I was 12. I was a little league baseball pitcher, and I wanted to do something to get a little stronger. And a friend of my father's gave me the old 110-pound, weight set, and I started lifting and realized fairly quickly that I was a better weightlifter than I was a baseball player. And so I really took to it and started competing when I was pretty young. I think I was 15 when I had my first competition, and really enjoyed it. And I competed for the next 10 years, pretty much until I graduated. I think I quit competing about a year or two after I graduated college, and then, moved on to other things in life. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got to travel. It was terrific.
Yeah.
And thank goodness no real permanent injuries, which is always nice. It's a tough sport.
What are the risks there? I mean, is it like, lingering shoulder things, blowing out a pec? I mean, what are those things that you worry about when you're trying to move that much weight?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's if you've ever seen it on TV, it's the sport where they lift the weight off the floor and up over the head and then drop it down. It's in the Olympics, and so the official title is Olympic weightlifting because it's in the Olympic Games, and it's one of the premier sports in terms of strength and all that, and it's been in the Olympics since the beginning, the modern Olympics, and yeah, it's exciting, it's dynamic. And to really do it successfully takes a lot more than strength. You've got to be athletic, you've got to be flexible, you've got to have good technique. And if you don't, that's when the injuries can occur because you're lifting some really heavy weights out there. So you want to make sure you're doing it correctly.
What was the record weight for you that you were able to lift?
So the two lifts we do are called the snatch, and that's where you've got a little wider grip in the bar. You lift it overhead in one motion, you snatch it overhead. And the clean and jerk, which people are more familiar with, off the floor to the shoulders, and then you pause and then put it overhead. I competed in the light heavyweight class. I weighed about 180 pounds, and I snatched 297 pounds. That was, it still is actually, believe it or not, the national collegiate record. It hasn't been broken. And in the clean and jerk, I did 385 pounds, 385. Yeah, and I weighed 180. Yeah.
What could you clean right now?
I can clean my house.
Perfect answer. What are your thoughts on, you were inducted into the Seahawk Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you?
Oh man, it was incredible. Again, as you mentioned, I went to Salve, and I've been working here since the early 1990s. I taught here full time. And as you mentioned, now I'm the director of alumni, parent, and family programs. So I'm Salve dyed in the wool, as they say, and so to receive that honor was just really, it just meant a lot to me. And my family was there back when I was inducted, and that was just a wonderful experience, and it means a lot.
Yeah. What are you up to now to stay fit? I think a lot of us have talked about, being active during this pandemic has been more essential than ever. What do you do currently? You said you're cleaning your house, but I know you're a fit guy. So what else do you do to stay in shape? What do you like to get after?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because after I was done competing, I still kept lifting, but the kind of training that myself and those I was training with were doing was sort of CrossFit before CrossFit was a thing. And so we were doing CrossFit type movements in the gym, anything and everything to, creatively stay in shape. I never really got into seeing how much I could bench press, and a lot of my friends who did now have shoulder injuries from, trying to do too much weight at too advanced an age, let's just say. So we did a lot of really, dynamic movements, which later became sort of CrossFit movements. I think CrossFit, absolutely fantastic. It's a great way to, stay in shape, to really keep, sort of your fast twitch muscle fibers active. It requires a lot of flexibility and a lot of cardio. So it really kind of includes all the necessary ingredients to stay healthy and stay in shape. So I still do some of the CrossFit type movements. The weights are just a lot lighter than they used to be.
How have you seen that? You said you started doing things that were CrossFit like, and now the CrossFit thing has really become a craze. What are your thoughts on that, and how it's gone from something like you said that was kind of like, this is something we do, to now CrossFit is, everybody knows what CrossFit is, or at least have heard of it.
Oh yeah, a lot of us were training, CrossFit type movements, so it was a thing. It's nothing, that we invented by any means. Wish I had, but no. So a lot of us, and I say a lot of us, are around the nation, were doing those kind of movements, and then some people just decided it really is a thing, and it became competitive. And you're right, it's really taken off. And now in Olympic weightlifting, we've seen a real resurgence in the number of competitive Olympic weightlifters who started out at CrossFit and realized, hey, because the Olympic lift movements, the snatch and the clean and jerk, are central to CrossFit. at almost every level. And so a lot of CrossFitters are realizing, wow, I'm really good at, those two Olympic movements, the snatch and the clean and jerk. Maybe I'll try and compete in that. And so a lot of our current elite level Olympic weightlifters started out as CrossFit.
Wow. Kind of touched on it before, but your thoughts on how important it is now more than ever to remain active. It might be easy to just, say, I'm just going to sit at home. We're trying to stay socially distant. You could fall into a rut of not being active, but how important is it to still remain active while being, safe and socially distant and all those sorts of things?
Yeah, for sure. You hear people who say, gosh, I've really gained, the COVID-15. And then you hear others who say, you know what, I'm in the best shape of my life because, I'm working from home, working remotely, and suddenly, some people have more time to train. So I think it really depends on how you, take advantage of the moment, so to speak. Certainly an opportunity to, try new things and to stay healthy. I think people across the country will probably get the demographic information on it, once time goes by and we can collect it. But I'm willing to guess that many Americans are walking more, being more active, whether it's walking or biking, whatever they may be happening to do, and staying healthier in the process. I'm sure there's a lot of people who aren't, but I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are taking advantage of, having a little bit more time in their hands these days and staying active. I certainly hope so.
I was going to say, I hope so as well. Now kind of the more like what's happening currently for you, as you said, director of alumni and parent services. What has that been like during this last 6, almost 7 month span? How has your job changed, and how has it maybe remained the same? I'm sure maybe a lot of that communication type stuff was digital anyways, but I'm sure there's been challenges, to say the least.
Oh, we were so sad that we couldn't have reunion weekend last June. And a lot of our summer events, the Dunes Club Summer Social, and some of our other really marquee events where alumni come to campus, or we get together for an event. And so we're really sad about that. Of course, we completely understand, given the realities. But so instead, we decided to move to more of a virtual platform, and we use Zoom a lot now. We've hosted a lot of virtual events. We've had cocktail parties for different classes. We've had yoga events. We had over 90 people sign up for one of our yoga events, and that was alumni, and even current parents of our students were invited and came. So we're making the most of, engaging our alumni and our parents and our families by having a lot of virtual events. Even the month of October, of course, we usually have fall festival weekend. And this year, of course, we're not. So instead, we're using, and this weekend would have been fall festival weekend. So instead of, having parents and families come to campus, for homecoming and other things, we've gone virtual. And we're going to use the entire month to celebrate what we call October Family Fest. And that's, you can see some of the events up on the screen here. This Saturday is Coffee with the President, which is just a wonderful opportunity to chat with Dr. Armstrong. Other events throughout the month, which you can find on our website. If you go to salve.edu alumni, you'll come right to our homepage with all these events listed. And even on the Salve website, there's a link for families at the top of the page. You can click there and see that same information too. And so we encourage and welcome all our parents, our families, our alumni, and our current students too to join us for these events.
Now, a lot of these events have that magic 4-letter word, right? Free.
They're all free.
All free. That's the thing. That'll get instantly people to jump on board. So that's a big thing to mention as well. Do you think that in a way, because it's full digital, you might see like a bigger reach of people that you'll have access to? Because maybe can't come back to campus, or you live too far away, or it's too much. Do you think you might see more of an engagement because, maybe people want to connect with people they haven't seen in a long time, maybe they haven't been able to, or, hey, this is something to do and you can just do it from home?
Oh, we sure hope so. It's sort of unknown territory. For sure, we know we'll be able to reach more people, and so parents, alumni, and families who may not have been able to come for Fall Festival weekend in person may be able to join us for a lot of these events. So early registration looks good. We've got a lot of interest in our events, and yeah, we're certainly hoping that a lot of members of our community can join us.
All right. Well, Gerry, hopefully you guys have a successful family month on campus with all these events and digitally. And thank you again for taking the time to come and join us here on the program.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's Gerry Willis, Seahawk Hall of Famer, an Olympic champion, and the Director of Alumni and Parent Activities here at Sal Regina. Big thanks to him for joining us on the program. We're going to go now back out to Topa Field to our head coach of the softball team, Jannelle Iaquinto. Jannelle, how you doing?
Hey, Andrew. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm going to have you do one thing for me. Go ahead and turn your camera sideways. Hopefully, there we go. Fill the screen. We want to get the full picture here.
Okay. Good.
So you're out at practice. That must feel so good. Which day of practice is this for you guys?
This is day 4 for us. We started last Friday, so we got through the weekend and just kind of jumping back into things this week and getting used to class schedules and everything else. So we've got some pitchers throwing a bullpen back here and working on some hitting in the cage. I don't know. Do I spin around? Do I just show what's going on? I don't know.
Go ahead.
I'm like,
do whatever.
Figure out the views here, I guess. You guys didn't prep me for this, so let's see. We got some cage stuff going in the back here.
Awesome.
We've got a bullpen going. Coach Borman's in there working with the pitchers and catchers, and most of the team is just starting to trickle in here from class. So we're gonna get started pretty soon.
Obviously, you have all the restrictions. Everybody's going to have their masks and the social distancing and all this sort of stuff. But how good does it feel to have at least softball things to focus and work on?
Yeah, I mean, it's really great to get everybody back. The hard part for all of us is it's the mask wearing. It's not hard to wear it. I think it's hard to get that interaction, that personal connection that we're used to having on the field and with teammates. You kind of just get a lot of people that look like they're staring at you. But we're getting used to it and trying to communicate as best we can with each other. And I keep telling the girls that instead of using your voice all the time, we just have to kind of work on our just on our body language at practice and try to be a little bit more encouraging and engaging. And the pods are tough, but we're getting through it. It's actually a great way to start for us. And the girls have enjoyed it. They've been getting close to each other. And I'm just really hoping that we get safely to phase 2 because we have such a small roster and we're so spread out that we'll be able to do a little bit more than some of the other teams at practice. So I'm excited for that.
Now, pitchers and catchers are socially distant to begin with on the field and for the most part in practice. How much has that dynamic maybe changed, or will it even change that much as far as from a practice standpoint? Like, hey, you're going to be standing apart anyway, so it's kind of just you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what it is though? I think it's we have a ton of versatility on our team. So kids are kind of stuck in pods, and right now we have them split, so it's our outfielders, our infielders, and our pitchers and catchers, and we can't mix them right now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what they're struggling with, and I'm struggling with because we're so used to practice saying JC go pitch, JC go to the outfield. She's pitching right behind us. That's why I kind of called her out there. But we just can't do that yet. So and going live, we're not doing any live hitting in practice or any situational stuff yet. Just kind of trying to ease everybody in and get used to the pods and being spread out. I mean, this facility is huge, so it's great for us.
Yeah. Now, I know last season was cut short, but you liked what you were going to be getting out of your pitchers. I know you had some freshmen you liked. You get to have those players basically have spent a year prepping and getting ready and learning how to be collegiate athletes now even more. You throw on some freshmen on top of that. What are you going to like, or what do you like about your pitching staff for this upcoming season?
I kind of describe it as it's been a blessing and a curse. It was really hard starting out with 4 freshman pitchers, but that we're in the payoff of that now, where They have the experience. We've gone to the postseason with their class every year, with the exception of last year. So they have postseason experience. They have game experience. They've competed against some of the top teams in the region, and they have that confidence. So I was really looking forward to last season, giving them that opportunity to shine a little bit. And Andy, coming off of her pitcher of the year season sophomore year, it kind of, it was hard for us, but we're bouncing back. We're taking step forwards, and we have a new freshman this year who's really transitioning quite well into the pitching staff already in just a few weeks here on campus. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think we have one of the stronger staffs in the conference, and certainly a lot of depth, and we added a lot more power, a lot more speed. So I'm excited and keeping our fingers crossed that we make it into the 2020 season, because these guys are ready to go.
Yeah. Now, part of that management of the restrictions and practice and everything being spread out is leaning on your assistant coaching staff.
Yeah.
How valuable have they been for you?
Amazing. I like the gratitude. It'll never be enough. Holly is working, I think 3 or 4 jobs right now, and is here every moment that she can. And she's coaching, with the Rhode Island Thunder organization with their top team. So she's busy, but her experience and her passion for this game is really invaluable. And it's been so crucial. She's also taken a big lead with the recruiting and helping me with that. And, bringing in 9 freshmen this year, she certainly was a huge asset in that, and has been an even bigger asset with our 21 and 22 class. And, having Coach Borman back I just love Kelsey. We haven't been able to get rid of her since that 2017 championship, but we'll keep her as long as she's willing. And she's in there in the background, just working with our pitching staff. And, Jen Rosa is back and coming back from surgery, and she'll be down here later on. And it's just a huge asset. Everybody brings something important to the table. And I think our relationship and chemistry has evolved over the past few years, just having some former players come back into the mix, and they care. They're very passionate about this team and this program, and they know what's at stake, and they know the potential we have. So forever indebted to these guys. And, I definitely couldn't be doing any of this without them, or any of the success of the program since I got here without those assistants and support staff that we have here at Salve.
Awesome. Well, Jannelle, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know you're itching to get out there and coach your team, so I'm going to let you go do that. Awesome to have you coming live from practice here today. Hopefully we can set up more of this, because I think it's really cool to get the insight from practice. But thank you for coming on, and look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Andrew, so much. This was great. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye now. That's Jannelle Iaquinto, the head coach of our softball team. We're going to take a very short break and be back with Coach Bill Villareal of our women's lacrosse team. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I am Andrew Pizzelli. Going to bring in our next guest now, the head coach of our women's lacrosse team and an assistant athletic director here at Salve Regina, Bill Villareal. Bill, how are you?
Andrew, how are you, Andrew? First time seeing you in a long time. How you doing?
I see you. We see each other in the little squares of the Zoom meetings. Every week. But that's our first chance to get to talk to you. You are not doing the hair thing like I'm doing.
No,
I said I'm not cutting it till we have live games.
I was in high school.
I'm not cutting it until we have live games. I'm guessing you probably that might be the longest I've ever seen your hair right now.
It is. I'm usually my flat tops, and they are coming back. I tried actually growing my hair out, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
It's too ingrained.
To, formation.
I was gonna say, speaking of that sort of stuff, routine, procedure. You're a Navy guy in a way. For this fall, so much, is there's the restrictions and the order, and this is how practice has to go. This is our checklist of things for you. And I know your team, you try to instill the same mentality of controlling what you can control. And
Right.
here's our game plan. Does it help having that in place? Because for you, nothing changes. It's like, guys, here's what we got to do. Let's go do
Right.
it.
To me, this is a normal operating procedure for me. It's just I see this as a mission that we have to do, and our mission really is to do what we need to do so that we can move on to a spring season. If we don't do what we're supposed to be doing, well, that becomes a lower percentage. But we're trying everything we can to follow the guidelines, making sure the folks are learning what they need to do in order so that we can play on the field come spring.
Yeah. How excited are you to be getting back to having a practice and on the field? Obviously, you're a spring sport coach, so your season was cut short. It must feel like almost like Groundhog Day. Like, what is going on? Like, now we're just practicing in the fall again. But I know you must be excited to be able to get back out there and tinker and work with your team.
Well, I'm really excited to get started. We start next week, so I know the girls are itching to get out on the field. I know, just like everybody else, we got to start small. But to be honest with you, I like it like this because then we can actually teach the finer points of the game and the way I look at it, and prepare ourselves so that we can go out in bigger groups as we go along, and as the phases go, then we can increase. But we have to be able to prove to ourselves that we can do the little things first, and then we can gradually get bigger as we go. To me, it's a mindset. If we want to make excuses, go ahead, but you're not going to last very long on the team. The bottom line is we're here. We know what guidelines we have to follow, so let's follow them. All we're trying to do is make it to the next wicket. I have big plans in place, but I also know the reality of the matter. So, all I want to do is make sure, A, we get in the pods, B, we have our mask, we social distance, all the basic items there. But, just getting through the mindset of wearing your mask is something where people aren't used to. I mean, in training that I have in the past, we've had rubber masks in hot desert areas. So, I mean, having the cloth mask is not so bad for me. I understand it. It takes something that we all have to get used to, and we just have to do it in order to get onto the field. So I kind of like going through this. It's really a mindset on how we can conquer that. If we want to create roadblocks for ourselves, we're never going to advance. So, we need to, the basic things I'm working on right now is communication, time management, getting back in the classroom again, studying hard, getting your study habits in line, so that when we are in the full swing of things, it'll be second nature. It won't be that bad. But right now we're just excited about getting back to playing, getting back and training our bodies, and getting ready to compete in the spring. That's what we're here for.
That's a pretty easy mic drop, Bill, to say. Like, somebody complains about wearing a mask, and you're like, listen, I wore a mask for days on end in a desert. So, it's not that bad.
I mean, it's really not that bad. It's really not bad. So I kind of like the fact that we do have some things that we gotta set our minds to, and really I think it's just keep a strong mind going into it, and let's do it. Let's go.
I was talking to Pat Cooney, our head men's lacrosse coach, about the restrictions and all this sorts of stuff, and he said,
Right.
about what are the challenges for this year? And he's like, in a way, honestly, I've been in this a long time. I kind of like the challenge. It keeps it new, keeping me excited and fresh. Are you feeling any of that almost that battlefield mentality, or that war zone mentality? Like, all right, hey, this is critical here. We got to lock in. We got to focus. Is any of that little like extra juices, coming out?
Oh, it definitely for me. I mean, I see this like when I was getting mission oriented and getting to that next wicket. I mean, in order for all of us to survive, we got to do it together. We got to support each other. We got to look out for each other. So, that's exactly what we're doing as a team, and we're gonna start it next week. I can't wait. Actually, it started earlier than that with Zooms and everything else. Just trying to get the mindset straight. But just like anything else, we had to start with communication, time management, get all that down pat, so that when they do start next week, then they're ready to go. So I'm looking at it as, hey, there's no hurdles, there's no roadblocks in my avenue. We're going straight forward. So I can't wait.
So you have a group of players who you have freshmen last year who basically got to go through a fall, go into the
Right.
spring, play some games, have experience. You have them returning. Then you get to add on more players on top of that. What are
Right.
you excited about with, say, what could be a really good young core for a team that does have veteran experience already?
Well, I have, I lost about 9, 10 players last year, because they graduated and moved on. But every year is exciting for me because it's a whole new team every year. Even though you have, for us this year, we have veteran players, but we also had veteran players after 3 games. So, it's really a starting block. I think every year for us, I have a tryout every year for my teams. They got to make the tryout. They got to pass the tryout in order to make the team. It keeps the competition going, and I think it gives people an opportunity to step up to the challenge. And if they want to start, they can. Freshmen, hey, if you guys come ready to go, and the upperclassmen maybe got a little lazy, well, then guess what? You're free to start that game just as much as anybody else who touches the field. So, for me, it's how bad do you want to be on the playing field? I'm willing and ready to coach at whatever level, So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the girls. I'm excited to see, opportunities. I want to see who rises to those occasions and who wants to be a starter on the team.
Yeah. What have been any resources that you've relied on during this time? A lot of people have talked about, old assistant coaches or coaches that they know at other programs, or it could be D1 people, D3 people, anywhere, even
Right.
maybe Navy people. What have been the
Right.
resources for you for inspiration, ideas, et cetera?
Well, the thing that I use is one, I talk a lot with my older daughter who played for the Boston Storm. She's been through the whole, rigmarole of, college experience, professional experience, and then moving on. I always, it's one thing with technology. I mean, you can see YouTube videos of how others do it. I'm always on it on the technology piece, just trying to get ideas on how others do it, and then if it appeals to what I'm putting out in practice, well, then I'll try to install that during our practice planning. But right now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Right now, I have just getting them out on the field in a separation, wearing masks is just the basic things, and that's what I want to get onto first. I want to make sure their bodies are trained to compete, meaning, we have our own workout plans, trying to do that part first is getting our bodies ready to compete. That in itself, and then I can get into individual concepts. Then we can get into team concepts. That's all down the line. Right now, it's very slow, very methodical on how I want to handle it with practice. But the girls are going to be in shape and they're going to be ready to compete, and they're going to be ready for taking it into the spring season. So that's what I'm concentrating more on first, and I want to guide them to prep themselves to be ready, rather than looking so far in advance to team concepts and competing, because there's a lot of time between now and then. The way I look at it is we need to get our bodies ready so that we can do those sort of things later.
Yeah. Last thing, Bill, kind of more fun and personal. Without games this fall, all of a sudden we all have weekends, which is this completely foreign concept. Even though I'm sure, like you said, you're focused on the team and the preparation aspect of it. I know you must take some time off to disconnect from that. So what have you been doing for fun? I know you're a barbecue guy. I don't know if you've been up in the barbecue. What has Bill Villareal been doing with his free time?
Well, to be honest with you, I had a bout in this earlier this year, so I went through that. So right now, it's just getting back to being, healthy diets and healthy workouts, and like instead of taking a
Instead of
car and
chocolate
driving
pudding,
somewhere
it's
now.
avocado ice cream.
Oh yeah, I'm into all that now. But getting, I bring my bike into school, so we're biking all over the place. I'm biking to all the fields, and doing my administrative items as the assistant athletic director. So instead of taking a car and going to a playing field, I'm jumping on my bike and going to the playing field, things like that. So I find myself more energetic and more alive, kicking around the campus. So I find more of that is enjoyable to me.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Bill, great to have you on. Great to see you.
You
Look
too.
forward to
Thanks.
hopefully getting on campus soon and getting to chat in person. But thank
Oh,
you again
yeah.
for coming on today.
Yeah, it's nice to see you with your long hair now. So.
Oh yeah, it's only gonna get longer. We're hoping January 2nd. We're pulling for women's basketball here.
Well, good luck.
All right, thank you. That
All
is
right.
Coach Bill Villareal, head coach and assistant athletic director here at Salva Regina. And we're going to go now to our final guests here today, the captains of our women's track and field team, Jillian LeBeau and Maggie McCarthy. We're going to bring them on into the show. Ladies, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Seniors, how fast did that go by? Is it almost like kind of unbelievable, especially since the spring didn't happen? Does it feel like it's not even really like, how weird is that?
Yeah, it was really weird. It flew by. I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Yeah, it went by pretty fast. I mean, everyone always says, oh, it's going to fly by, but you really don't think it until it already happened. And you're like, wow, that was like super crazy.
Yeah. What does it mean to you guys to have been named captains of your teams and being seniors as well? Like the responsibility of that, what does it mean to you guys?
I was honestly a little surprised when I got the email from Coach Matt. I'm happy, but surprised. But no, I'm really honored because this is one of the sports where the girls actually choose who their leaders are. So I was very honored and very happy to be chosen.
As Jill said, yeah, it was such an honor, especially when your own teammates really make that decision for you. It feels really good, and knowing that they trust you, like me and Jill and Kat, to kind of bring them to another level with Coach Matt and Coach Rob. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. Running, practicing, field events, this sort of stuff can be socially distanced to begin with. How much has COVID-19 impacted your guys' ability to train, whether it be the summer and then now when you're back on campus?
Well, I mean, in terms of cross country right now, our season was our practice wise, we weren't really impacted, because it's more of an individual. We're not really needing to go near each other too much. The only real big impact I would say is the masks, which we have to run in all the time. We're getting used to it. The weather sometimes makes it a little difficult. But in terms of track, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time we get there, things might be a little different.
Yeah, it was definitely tough during the summer because all the tracks were closed around me and I know around a bunch of other places. So it was tough to get those track workouts in. So it was more road running, which was not my favorite, but you make it work. And then even now, I'm trying to look to get on the track here and there, and they're still not open yet. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but.
Now, I'm sure for most people, they would just, uninformed people might think just running's running. Maggie, you said there, you don't want to run on the road versus running on the track. What is the differences there? Why does that make such a difference?
Well, personally, I just perform better on the track. If I'm on the road, I just automatically I zone out, and it's tougher for me to keep it going. And on the track, it's just easier for me to keep track of my laps, my time, and there's no uphills, which is really nice. So,
I say a track is flat.
yeah,
hopefully,
so it's definitely easier on the legs, personally.
Nice. What was I going to ask? Lastly, Jillian, you mentioned you're going to be joining the Navy after graduation. What went into that decision? That's amazing. How did that process come about?
Yeah, I had always thought about it, especially in high school, and I kind of just chickened out and decided not to follow through with it. And then sophomore year, one of my friends was talking about this program that she found through the Navy. It's called the Nurse Candidate Program. So it kind of reignited my interest in joining. So I looked it up, did a lot of research on it, looked at a bunch of different programs, but I still decided on going with the Navy. So I'm really super excited. Yeah, I've already enlisted technically, but I'll be commissioned after I graduate and pass my NCLEX and get all that stuff done.
That's really awesome. That's amazing. So you'll be moving on to that. Maggie, I'm not exactly sure. Do you plan on this is senior year? That's it, or I know some people have the chance to come back. What are your plans for this year and moving forward?
Right now, it's just senior year and that's it. So I'm an education major, so I may look into getting my master's, but as of now, just diploma and that's it.
Real world, here we come.
I know.
I wanted to ask you guys too. I have a really great friendship with your head coach, Matt Hurd. Everybody loves Matt. Talk about what kind of coach he is and how important he's been for you guys.
Yeah, no, Matt, he's awesome. I don't think I know anyone who doesn't enjoy being around him. He always loves to call us great Americans, which makes me laugh every day. But he's a great coach. He's very encouraging. He loves to support you, whether it's on the field, on the course, or even academically. He's always there for you. I feel super comfortable going to him with anything I need. He's just a really big supporter of all the guys on his team.
Yeah, honestly, I think Jill said it all. He's just really supportive and super encouraging, and there really is nothing that you would want to hide from him or anything. He's just really open and he treats you like his children. So it's great. It's like a mini family. So it's awesome.
As I say, it's an individual sport, but I do feel with you guys, it is a family. How important is that? Because you have a sport where you can be locked into the individual success, but you guys really do seem to have that family dynamic within your group.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we often see ourselves kind of separated. The throwers might be one place, the sprinters are somewhere else. But I feel like at the end of the day, we can all get together. We're all friends. We're all a big family.
Yeah, I think it's just a super close-knit team. And before meets, we try to do pasta dinners, and hopefully we can get something like that going for the season coming up. But just to keep everyone close and encouraging each other is just kind of makes the team stronger.
I know you guys are excited for the season. Does having that be a possibility? It is a real possibility. You guys can play. There's all these things that you have to follow, and the mask thing, maybe it could be annoying or not, but does it help knowing that, listen, the goal here is to get a season, so it's easy to do the things you have to do because you have that light at the end of the tunnel there?
Yeah, it's definitely an extra fire that it builds, because not having anything can kind of make it harder, but because we have that little bit of hope that we could have a season, it definitely makes you want to work harder and just be stronger for your team.
Right, especially because we didn't have a season last year.
Yeah.
So that kind of motivates people to be like, all right, we got this year. Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show here today. As Matt said, two great Americans. Thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to speaking to you guys again soon.
Thank you.
All right. That is the captains of the women's track and field team, Jillian LeBeau and Maggie McCarthy. We're going to take a very short break and be back with the producers to wrap up today's show. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Got to show some clips there of both Jillian and Maggie competing. in track and field. It was great to have them on. And we're going to go ahead and bring in the producers now to close out the show, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Mike, we'll start with you. How's it been out at Topa and with softball practice ramping up there? And you're on mute, Mike. the mute bug. It's bitten everybody.
It's going well though. As I just was trying to say, there's a few more people walking behind me, so they're starting to get into more individual drills now. I just saw the infielders doing some throwing drills behind me. They're off a little bit more to the left now, doing some ground balls, and then hitters are out there getting some swings in. And the pitchers, there's only 2 here right now, but they're going as well. So it's been nice. It's even clearing up a little bit, as you can see. Not quite as windy, so I'm happy about that.
I was going to ask you what the weather conditions were.
Yeah, a little bit better. I think I should just be a weatherman after today. I think I'm giving a pretty good description.
Would you say the barometric pressure is rising or falling?
Definitely falling. But yeah, I do not know what that means. But I can I can speculate that it is going down.
You had a 50-50 shot there, and you took it.
Yeah. Yes.
You might be right.
It probably
None
is
of us
right.
know.
I think we're supposed to be getting a little bit of rain soon, so he's probably right. Guys, I always like to get your thoughts first on what you thought of today's show and any notes from our guests here today.
I guess I'll just talk about. I really liked talking with Coach Villareal today. I love like he's such like a font of wisdom. Like I love hearing what he has to say. And I wrote it down so I don't forget it. He said, just talk about like the masks and like not letting it stop us. And he said, if we want to create roadblocks, we'll never advance. And that's just like, that's so true. And just hearing him talk about like what he's doing and like how they're overcoming everything is just, it's really like inspiring the way he talks about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a quote you could take and just, it doesn't matter how small of a group you want to look at or how large, you could look at an entire nation and apply that same quote. If we just want to create roadblocks for ourselves, we'll never move forward. That's a great line.
Nelson Mandela level wisdom.
Yeah. Yes. Mike, notes from today's show, from what you were able to listen in on, because I know you were busy at the field.
I was able to slightly listen in on Coach Iaquinto in her speech while I was walking around filming a bit. It's impressive how she's able to manage both that at once, like while still coaching. It's just her and one other assistant out here, and they do a really good job of just making sure everyone's staying on task. And it shows in their players because they're able to do drills, without just being like having someone look over their shoulder. They're still playing even when their coach is off doing something else, and that's a great thing to have with the team.
Awesome. Anything else you guys want to add here at the end of the show?
Go Seahawks, I guess. And keep your distance.
Yeah, I don't have anything in particular either today.
All right. I was just going to bring up, I mentioned at the top about the Titans and the Steelers had a COVID, the Titans had, a little COVID outbreak today. And then, it's kind of the first little hurdle here for the NFL. And this is just in from Adam Schefter that, the Titans, even though they're not going to be allowed into their facility until Saturday, the NFL intends to have them play the Steelers game as scheduled, but there is a contingency to play Monday night if they have to do more contact tracing and that sort of stuff. So we talked about the NHL at the top and how they've been able to manage things perfectly. This is going to be our first little test here for the NFL. Obviously, the team they're not in bubbles, and it is a very close contact sport. So we got to keep our eye on how things go there, and just, hey, this is just more lessons for everybody else to kind of watch and learn from.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for your work here today. Mike, we'll have to figure out where we're going to send you next on location because it's great to have you out in the field. It gives us a different look, and I know you enjoy it. So
yeah, I heard there's a tornado coming next week. Maybe I'll go cover it. Who knows?
Hey,
hurricane, anything.
We just got to bolt you down to the concrete, and you can come to us live from a tornado.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Hey, that's whatever it takes. Again, there's another thing we can apply that to the small and to the large. So whatever it takes. Guys, great work as always, and we'll look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. All right, that is Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. Big thanks to our guests once again here today. We had Gerry Willis, Jannelle Iaquinto, Bill Villareal, and then Jillian LeBeau and Maggie McCarthy of our women's track and field team. Big thanks to the producers once again. Reminder that we are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Salve Athletics Network. You can tune in on Facebook, on YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can always go back and rewatch every single episode through those platforms. You can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast so you can never miss an episode. Just search for Seahawk Talk on your favorite podcasting app. So that'll do it for today's program. I am Andy Pizzelli. Have a good afternoon, everyone, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.